Wajad. Now, Wajad, I don't know if I take should I take General Rashid Qureshi at face value there? Because the fact also is that after the evidence was given, some 3-4 weeks back, after that, about 4 or 5 days after the evidence was given, your Interior Ministry dumped the evidence and then said that we are going to take it now through the process. And then the press reports are already out. America, everyone's reporting that it's going to be a complete sham job tomorrow. Isn't it a formality tomorrow, basically?
Well,
you're making a formal
with due respect,
formal announcement.
First of all, let's be very honest. This is a touchy issue. No,
Sure
Arnav, with due respect, this is a touchy issue. There's no doubt that the citizens of Mumbai, much less the people of India, have been wronged with this event. Now, I agree with General Qureshi to the extent we have to be fair to both sides, so let's try to be fair for both sides. As far as we're concerned, the Pakistani government is looking into this. It has promised a document, and the Prime Minister, the Foreign Minister, both have made statements, separate statements. The Prime Minister is in Switzerland, the Foreign Minister is here in Pakistan. Both made statements saying that we don't just want to satisfy India with these proceedings. We want to satisfy the world. We need to come clean. So first of all, I think we need to hold on to our hats before the Pakistani response to the Indian dossier comes out, first of all. But I also want to take a look back a few months before the incident happened, and I want to think hard, and I urge you as a colleague, as a professional, as a part of the Indian civil society, to think about this, about where does the strategic viability in this incident. Let's just say that the Pakistani establishment, or a part of the establishment, perhaps a rogue part of the establishment, was involved in this. Where does the strategic viability for hurting relations with India lie right now with Pakistan, considering what's going on the Western Front?
I'd like to answer that.
Because as far as Pakistan is concerned, there's no strategic gains to be had in this equation versus India at this point. The President of Pakistan had made overtly overt gestures with India just a few weeks before
I'd like to address this issue.
So you have to give the Pakistanis the benefit of the doubt. There is a
just give you the bullet points. I mean, strategic
viability, civil process, and they're working on
Pakistan's establishment has built up its entire foreign policy agenda. Agenda of the Pakistani establishment has been built up in an anti-Indian bias. The second thing is Pakistan's military has been struggling to come to terms with the insurgency in northwest frontier, Baluchistan and the Afghan border. They needed a reason to build up a sort of a stressful situation with India where they could divert some troops and even threaten America that they might be pulling out of the so-called American war on terror. The third thing is that I'm not talking of the moderates. Wajad, you make the moderate. Even General Qureshi is, I would now say, certainly part of the moderate. Pun intended, General, but a lot of retired generals get into track to diplomacy. When they're in establishment, there's a different sort of approach they have to take, perhaps. That's the official line. But there are several elements in the Pakistan hardline part of the establishment who see a vested interest in keeping a relationship with India, which is relatively stressed. So that several issues are addressed. I don't want to go into the whole history. Arms purchases, role in society, dominance of policy making, foreign policy. I mean, a whole lot of issues. I mean, anybody who's familiar with the history of Pakistan will know where the military comes in from. So that's not, I mean, that question has a given answer. My question to you, Wajad, is a more specific one. And that is, President Zardari has just written a piece in the Washington Post in which he is basically talking of a new dawn for Pakistan. And that's not addressing your media agency, but a new dawn. I mean, a new whole approach in US-Pakistan relations, Pakistan's equation in South Asia. Wouldn't it make sense for President Zardari, the establishment and others, to shed the baggage of the past, whatever be it? I mean, if somebody is trying to be a mischief maker, put them aside and address the issue and look at it afresh. I think that would be much more reassuring to the Indian public, to the Indian establishment, than just saying, where is the strategic viability? There's enough strategic viability, we all know.
I get that, but I take General Qureshi on that, if you don't mind, because General Qureshi, you want to take that? This was an opportunity for you. Let me make it broadly. I don't want to go into those semantics and details with you, General Qureshi, but there was a feeling, and you said on this show sometime back, here's an opportunity for two countries to work together. And you know that if there's a flat denial tomorrow, day after, whenever, Monday, Tuesday, you come with it, that opportunity will be lost forever, General Qureshi.
Frankly, I do not know what the results of the investigation are, so my comments at this stage may not be appropriate on whatever is the result of the investigation. However, I think we should wait for those 1 or 2 days before we discuss this. And secondly, because now it looks as if the Indian government and the Indian establishment and the Indian media all combined are trying to pressurize Pakistan with a lot of threats, with verbal as well as implied threats, that if you do not come up with a certain decision on this investigation, it's the end with relations with India.
But I must say, Wajad, with all respect to you, and Pakistani media has done a fantastic job of this, Maruf will agree, that there is a great lack of sync between what the Pakistani media and civil society is saying and what the establishment is saying. One wonders why we'll wait for that. We won't preempt Pakistan's response. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us. Thank you very much indeed.